Listening. What if geese honking overhead told you what it is like to travel so far? Or a fish described the pierce of the hook, the shock of the line? What if a leaf could whisper the slow ache as the green drained away? Or a tree the sudden axe? What if we could hear the small gnats moan?
The season of phantasmal peace. Then all the nations of birds lifted together the huge net of shadows of this earth in multitudinous dialects, twittering tongues, stitching and crossing it. They lifted up the shadows of long pines down trackless slopes, the shadows of glass-faced towers down evening streets, the shadow of a frail plant on a city sill, the net rising soundless as night, the birds' cries soundless until there was no longer dusk or season, decline or weather, only this passage of phantasmal light that not the narrowest shadow dared to sever. And men could not see, looking up, what the wild geese drew, what the ospreys trailed behind them in silvery ropes that flashed in the icy sunlight. They could not hear battalions of starlings waging peaceful cries, bearing the net higher, covering this world like the vines of an orchard, or a mother drawing the trembling gauze over the trembling eyes of a child fluttering to sleep. It was the light that you will see at evening on the side of a hill in yellow October. And no one hearing knew what change had brought into the raven's cawing, the killdeer's screech, the ember-circling chuff, such an immense, soundless, and high concern for the fields and cities where the birds belong. Except it was their seasonal passing. Love made seasonless, or from the high privilege of their birth, something brighter than pity for the wingless ones below them who shared dark holes in windows and in houses. And higher they lifted the net with soundless voices above all change, betrayals of falling suns, and this season lasted one moment, like the pause between dusk and darkness, between fury and peace. But, for such as our earth is now, it lasted long. How to do absolutely nothing. Rent a house near the beach or a cabin, but do not take your walking shoes. Don't take any clothes you'd wear any place anyone would see you. Don't take your rechargeables. Take Scrabble if you have to, but not a dictionary and no pencils for keeping score. Don't take a cookbook or anything to cook. A fishing pole, okay, but not the line, hook, sinker. Leave it all. Find out what's left.
Lion, for Melinda Ward. When the lion came through the camp, one woman sat up in her tent, breathing the terrible smell. Next morning, the guide said, "Nope." When she asked, then, "Yes, but don't tell the others." Sleep in a tent, dream with creatures. The night breathes and stirs. If you wait before using a lamp, your eyes will adjust and you can see farther in the dark. How do you know? How do you ever know? Sonnet with Pride. 1. In 2003, during the Iraq War, a pride of lions escaped from the Baghdad Zoo during an American bombing raid. 2. Confused, injured, unexpectedly free, the lions roamed the streets searching for food and safety. 3. For a moment, imagine yourself as an Iraqi living in Baghdad. You are running for cover as the U.S. bombers like metal pterodactyls roar overhead. You are running for cover as some of your fellow citizens, armed and angry, fire rifles, rocket launchers, and mortars into the sky. You are running for cover as people are dying all around you. It's war, war, war. And then you turn a corner and see a pride of freaking lions advancing on you. 4. Now imagine yourself as a lion that has never been on a hunt, that has never walked outside of a cage, that has been coddled and fed all of its life, and now your world is exploding all around you. It's war, war, war. And then you turn a corner and see a pride of freaking tanks advancing on you. 5. It's okay to laugh. It's also always okay to laugh at tragedy. If lions are capable of laughter, then I am positive those Baghdad lions were laughing at their predicament as they watched the city burn and collapse. I'm sure a lioness turned to a lion and said, "So you think you're still the king of the jungle?" 6. I don't know if the lions killed anybody as they roamed through the streets. 7. But I'd guess they were too afraid. I'm sure they could only see humans as zookeepers, not food. 8. In any case, the starving lions were eventually shot and killed by U.S. soldiers on patrol. 9. It's a sad and terrible story, yes, but that is war. And war is everywhere. And everywhere there were prides of starving lions wandering the streets. There are prides of starving lions wandering inside your hearts. 10. You might also think that I'm using starving lions as a metaphor for homeless folks, but I'm not. Homeless folks have been used far too often as targets for metaphors. I'm using those starving lions as a simple metaphor for hunger. All of our hunger. 11. Food hunger, love hunger, faith hunger, soul hunger. 12. Who among us has not been hungry? Who among us has not been vulnerable? Who among us has not been a starving lion? Who among us has not been a prey animal? Who among us has not been a predator? 13. They say God created humans in God's image. But what if God also created lions in God's image? What if God created hunger in God's image? What if God is hunger? Tell me, how do you pray to hunger? How do you ask for hunger's blessing? How will hunger teach you to forgive? How will hunger teach you how to love? 14. Look out the window. It's all hunger and war. Hunger and war, hunger and war, and the endless pride of lions.
Rain light. All day the stars watch from long ago. My mother said, "I am going now. When you are alone, you will be all right. Whether or not you know, you will know." Look at the old house in the dawn rain. All the flowers are forms of water. The sun reminds them through a white cloud, touches the patchwork spread on the hill. The washed colors of the afterlife that lived there long before you were born. See how they wake without a question, even though the whole world is burning. The still life. Now, just at that silent place between sadness and gratitude, wind-worn balances we all weather, a cardinal leaps from a bare, trim limb, its red bloom lingering. The sun down in deepening darkness where night clouds consume it, evanescence of orange and purple. How moment passes, how memory holds. The heart must break if it has ever felt joy. The heart must break because diminished things matter, and having mattered, hold still. You were here for us. Then break, heart. Your fingers lie upon the pulse of our days.
Beatific. I watch him bob across the intersection, squat legs bowed in black sweatpants. I watch him smile at nobody, at our traffic stopped to accommodate his slow going. His arms churn the air. His comic jog carries him nowhere, but it is as if he hears a voice in our idling engines calling him lithe, swift, prince of creation. Every least leaf shivers in the sun while we sit bothered, late, captive to this thing commanding. Wait for this man. Wait for him.
Delivery. The delivery man slowly climbs the 5 steep flights of stairs as I lean down to watch him walking up as he's talking on the phone, and now he pauses on the 3rd floor landing to touch a little Christmas light the girl had wrapped around the banister. Speaking to someone in a language so melodic, I ask him what when he hands me the package up to me. And he says, patois, from Jamaica, smiling up at me from where he's standing in the landing. A smile so radiant that re-entering the apartment, I'm a young woman again, and the sweetness of the men I've loved walks in through the closed door, one of them right now, kicking the snow off his boots, turning to take my face in his cold hands, kissing me now with his cold mouth.
Say thank you. Say I'm sorry. I don't know whose side you're on, but I am here for the people who work in grocery stores that glow in the morning and close down for deep cleaning at night, right up the street, and in cities I mispronounce, in towns too tiny for my big black car to quit, and in every wide corner of Kansas, where going to school means at least one field trip to a slaughterhouse. I want so little, Another leather-bound book, a gimlet with a lavender gin, bread so good when I taste it, I can tell you how it's made. I'd like us to rethink what it means to be a nation. I'm in a mood about America today. I have PTSD about the Lord. God save the people who work in grocery stores. They know a bit of glamour is a lot of glamour. They know how much it costs for the eldest of us to eat. Save my loves and not my sentences. Before I see them, I draw a mole near my left dimple, add flair to the smile they can't see behind my mask. I grin or lie. Or maybe I wear the mouth of a beast. I eat wild animals while some of us grow up knowing what gnocchi is. The people who work at the grocery store don't care. They say, thank you. They say, sorry, we don't sell motor oil anymore, with a grief so thick you could touch it. Go on, touch it. It is early. It is late. They have washed their hands. They have washed their hands for you. And they take the bus home.
George Floyd. You can be a brother who dyes his hair Dennis Rodman blue in the face of the man kneeling in blue, in the face the music of his wrist. Watch your mouth is little more than a door being knocked out of the ring of fire. Around the afternoon came evening's bell of the ball and chain, around the neck of the unarmed brother ground down to gunpowder. Dirt can be inhaled like a puff, the magic bullet. Point of transformation both kills and fires. The life of the party like its 1999 bottles of beer on the Wall Street. People who sleep in the streets do not sleep without counting yourself lucky. Rabbit's foot of the mountain lion, do not sleep without making your bed of the river. Boat gambling, there will be no stormy weather. On the water, bored to death. Any means of killing time is on your side of the bed of the truck. Transporting Emmett till the break of day, Emmett till the river runs dry. Your face, the music of the spheres, Emmett till the end of time.
Prayer. What can we offer the child at the border? A river of shoes, her coat stitched with coins, her father killed for his teeth, her mother sewing her daughter's future into a hem. Alone, but for a brother who shoves her ahead through the barbed wire fence, knowing she's safer without him, a truth she cannot fathom, being too young for the ways of men. Nothing is what we can offer. The child died years ago, except practice a finer caliber of kindness to the stranger, rather than wield this burden of self, this harriedness. Humility involves less us. And even the black guy's profile reads, sorry, no black guys. Imagine a tulip, upon seeing a garden full of tulips, sheds its petals in disgust, prays some bee will bring its pollen to a rose bush. Imagine shadows longing for a room with light in every direction. You look in the mirror and see a man you refuse to love. Small child sleeping near Clorox, dreaming of soap suds and milk. If no one has told you, you are beautiful and lovable and black and enough, and so, you pretty you, am I.
Won't you celebrate with me? Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and woman, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up here on the bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight my other hand. Come, celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and failed.
For Estefani Laura, 3rd grade, who made me a card. For Estefani Laura, PS 132, Washington Heights. Elephant on an orange line, underneath a yellow circle meaning sun, 6 green vertical lines with color, all from the top meaning flowers. The first time I peel back the 5 squares of Scotch tape, unfold the crooked crease fold of art class paper, I am in my living room. It is June. Inside of the card there is one long word and then Estefani's name. Lois Foribari, Estefani Laura. Lois Foribari. Lois Foribari, the scientific Latinate way of saying hibiscus. Lois Foribari. A direction, as in, are you going north, south, east, west? Lois Foribari. I try over and over to read the word out loud. Lois Foribari, Lois Foribari, Lois Foribari, Lois Foribari. What is this word? I imagine using it in sentences like, man, I have to go back to the house. I forgot my Lois Foribari. Or there's nothing better than rain, hot rain, open windows with music and a tall glass of Lois Foribari. Or how are we going to Pittsburgh? Should we drive or take the Lois Foribari? I have lived 4 minutes with this word, not knowing what it means. It is the end of the year. I consider writing my student, Estefani Laura, a letter that goes, to the brilliant Estefani Laura. Hola, querida. I hope that you are well. I've just opened the card that you made me, and it is beautiful. I really love the way you filled the sky with birds. I believe that you are chula, chulita, and superfly. Yes, the card is beautiful. I only have one question for you. What does the word Lois Foribari mean? I try the word again. Lois Foribari, Lois Foribari, Lois Foribari. I try the word in Spanish. Lois Foribari, Lois Foribari, Lois Foribari, and then slowly, Lois Foribari, Lois for everybody. Love is for everybody. Love is for everybody. Love, love, love. Everybody love.
Walking each other home. My friend lives on this road the same as me. 2 hollows down, 2 gladed mountainsides, briar patches that go without saying, fields in pumpkin or hay or fallow. Once, we can never forget, a bear. And once, for too long a season, a road-killed deer whose return to dust we've both watched, the ragged pelt dried to leather, the shipwreck of ribcage. My friend alone saw the bear and told me of it, the winter of her chemo. I was the one to see the deer fresh struck and had to find words, even though even now I can hardly bear to say how I watched hooves beating air, reaching for some blind heaven. Between us, we know this map by heart. I walk from my house to hers, and then together we speak of things, or don't. We are often quiet, all the way back home to mine. Or she walks here first, collects me for her return. Either way, this is the road where we live. Always we walk each other home, and always we walk some of it alone.
What the silence says. I know what you think you already know, but wait. Longer than that. Even longer than that. Taking my old dog out to pee before bed. Dew is already deep in the overgrown grass, the air damp with a salty tang. Zeke's hips are too ground down to lift a leg, so he just stands there. We both just stand, looking into the darkness. Sometimes a moon silvers his thinning fur. Sometimes it's clear enough for stars. Orion strides across the heavens, his dog trotting at his heel. A great live oak reaches over from a neighbor's yard, dense black limbs silhouetted against a paler sky, single voluptuous remnant of forests. Can a tree be lonely? Zeke tips up his muzzle, scent streaming through 100 million olfactory cells as he reads the illuminated manuscript of night. Raccoons prowling down the street. Who's in heat or just out for a stroll? Handsome still, he reminds me of an aging movie star with his striking white eyebrows and square jaw. He always had an urbane elegance, a gentleman who could carry off satin lapels and a silver-tipped cane. Tonight, an ambulance wails. Someone not so far away is frightened, in pain, trying to live or trying to die. And then it's quiet again. No birds, no wind. We don't speak. We just wait, alive, together, until one of us turns back to the door and one of us follows.
Small kindnesses. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by. Or how strangers still say, bless you, when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes, when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee, hot, and to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them and wait for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, "Here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first. I like your hat."
Screech Owl. All night, each reedy whinny from a bird no bigger than a heart flies out of a tall black pine and, in a breath, is taken away by the stars. Yet, with small hope from the center of darkness, it calls out again and again. The bat. I was reading about rationalism, the kind of thing we do up north in early winter, where the sun leaves work for the day at 4:15. Maybe the world is intelligible to the rational mind, and maybe we light the lamps at dusk for nothing. Then I heard the wings overhead. The cats and I chased the bat in circles. Living room, kitchen, pantry, kitchen, living room. At every turn it evaded us, like the identity of the third person in the Trinity, the one who spoke through the prophets, the one who astounded Mary by suddenly coming near.
Halley's Comet. Miss Murphy in first grade wrote its name in chalk across the board and told us it was roaring down the storm tracks of the Milky Way at frightful speed. And if it wandered off its course and smashed into the earth, there'd be no school tomorrow. A red-bearded preacher from the hills with a wild look in his eyes stood in the public square at Playground's edge, proclaiming he was sent by God to save every one of us, even the little children. "Repent, ye sinners," he shouted, waving his hand-lettered sign. At supper, I felt sad to think that it was probably the last meal I'd share with my mother and my sisters. But I felt excited too and scarcely touched my plate. So Mother scolded me and sent me early to my room. The whole family's asleep except for me. They never heard me steal into the stairwell hall and climb the ladder to the fresh night air. "Look for me, Father, on the roof of the red brick building at the foot of Green Street. That's where we live. You know, on the top floor." I'm the boy in the white flannel gown, sprawled on this coarse gravel bed, searching the starry sky, waiting for the world to end.
The fourth wise man. The fourth wise man disliked travel. If you walk, there's the gravel. If you ride, there's the camel's attitude. He far preferred to be inside, in solitude, to contemplate the star that had been getting so much larger and more prolate lately, stretching vertically, like the souls of martyrs, towards the poles, or like the yawns of babies. The excluded animals. Only a certain clack of beasts is part of the crash racket, forming a streamy-breathed semicircle around the baby basket. Anything more exotic than a camel is out of luck this season. Not that the excluded animals envy the long-lashed sycophants. Cormorants don't toady, nor do toads adore anybody for any reason. Nor do the unchosen alligators, grinning their 3-foot grin as they laze in the blankety waters like the blankets on him.
Sheep in the winter night. Inside the barn, the sheep were standing pushed close to one another. Some were dozing. Some had eyes wide open, listening in the dark. Some had no doubt heard of wolves. They looked weary, with all the burdens they had to carry, like being thought of as stupid and cowardly, disliked by cowboys for the way they eat grass about an inch into the dirt, the silly look they have just after shearing, of being one of the symbols of the Christian religion. In the darkness of the barn, their woolly backs were full of light gathered on summer pastures. Above them their white breath was suspended, while far off in the pine woods, night was deep in silence. The owl and rabbit were wondering, along with the trees, if the air would soon fill with snowflakes. But the power that moves through the world and makes our hair stand on end was keeping the answer to itself.
Carols back then, 1935. Clouds on the hills. I hear a throat voice chiming like Ella's from the quicksand year, soon to be gone if I do not recall the cold and the carols that rang Christmas there. Walls are closing round that corner scene, the street turning to iron where we sang like a bell, and even our classmates are shrugging away. I stand on the curb and remember it all. That song, the star that came near and stayed, the hulking town we walked through that night. I can turn to it, being true to the sign, quietly insisting with all my life that life around me now can't know. Ella, our town is filling with snow.
New Year's Day. Everyone has two birthdays, according to the English essayist Charles Lamb: the day you were born and New Year's Day. A droll observation to mull over as I wait for the tea water to boil in a kitchen that is being transformed by the morning light into one of those brilliant rooms of Matisse. No one ever regarded the 1st of January with indifference, writes Lamb. For unlike Groundhog Day or the Feast of Annunciation, New Year's Day marks nothing but the pure passage of time, I realized as I lowered a tin diving ball of tea leaves into a little ocean of roiling water. I like to regard my own birthday as the joyous anniversary of my existence, probably because I was and remain to this day in late December an only child. And as an only child, a tea-sipping, toast-nibbling only child in a bright, colorful room, I would welcome an extra birthday. One more opportunity to stop what we are doing for a moment and celebrate my presence here on earth. And would it not be a small consolation to us all having to face a death day too? An X drawn through a number in a square on some kitchen calendar of the future? The day when each of us is thrown off the train of time by a burly, heartless conductor as it roars through months and years, party hats, candles, confetti, and horoscopes billowing up in the turbulent storm of its wake. Spring. Speckled egg, brown egg, or sky blue with black marks. Having broken once, the world reforms in miniature, over and over, in the nest between two limbs, in the hollow of grass at a marsh edge. It is relentless the way it keeps trying to return. Joy, joy, joy.